Hi, I'm Bruce Blitz, and welcome to Cartooning with Blitz. Now, I got a question to ask you. In football, what's it called when there's an all-out effort to get the quarterback? I'll give you a hint. It's in my name. That's right, they Bruce him. No, they don't Bruce him. They Blitz him. And that's what we'll be doing today, drawing sports cartoons and other cartoons that show real action. And for our feature of the day, Make, Mo, Throw. Another way to get movement in your cartoons. And for our doodle trick portion, alphabet tunes. Finished cartoons from letters. So if you're ready, all right, let's get started drawing some action cartoons. All right, let's do our first drawing, and we'll start with creating a face with the Insta-Cartooner. Now, the Insta-Cartooner is a lot of fun. Got a sheet of a lot of facial outlines, and we'll put that down. And then we'll lay on top of it all these plastic overlay sheets, and we can create thousands and thousands of faces. Now, we're going to need a guy who's going to be roller skating, but actually falling down. So I put that down. And now I'm going to put this over it just so we can isolate one of the faces so it gets a little less confusing for you. And we'll use that face right there. Now, I've got this sheet here that's got all these sets of eyes. Look at those zany eyes. Look at that one, that one. But we're going to have a fellow that's wincing in pain because he just fell down. So we'll use those eyes right there. And let's see, for the nose. Got all these, not that one. We'll use that one right there. Okay. And then for the mouth, he's going to be gritting his teeth. So let's look how it comes together with the mouth. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. I like this one with his teeth. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Now, what you can do is you could put a piece of tracing paper over this, and then you could trace that face. Or you can just copy the face on another piece of paper, and that's what I've done. So let's do that now, and we'll finish the body and put some action to it. And I have that already done right over here. And here's that same face, a little bit larger. I'll tape it down. All right, just like that. All right, now let's draw the body. Okay, so let's block it out with shapes and sticks. It's part shape figure and part stick figure. It's a stick figure. I think a stick figure is the oldest method of drawing that there is, but you know what? It's still a very good method. We use sticks for the feet. Shapes for the feet, sticks for the legs, sticks for the arms, and circles for the hand. That's a shape. Now let's go back and let's put some more detail in it. Have him wearing a sweater. And his shoulders, well, they're driven straight up. Now we're having a guy here who just fell off of roller skates, just had a big spill. Now that's not really funny, but in cartoon world, it is a little funny. His shoulders up, and those little squigglies I'm doing there are the sweater. It's a sweater bending, because it's a fabric and it's got a little bit of play to it. Okay, now let's draw the hands. Now, hands are tricky, but I found the easiest method is to start with a circle or a squarish shape and put a thumb on it and fingers right on that circle. Especially cartoon hands. They can be a little tricky. And do you know why animators only use 4 fingers like some of the famous animated cartoon characters? The reason for that is because it's easier to keep track of animating 4 fingers instead of 5. And the viewer doesn't really mind because they don't really look that closely. All right, there we have it. Now let's go down here and let's put in his bottom of the sweater and his legs. Straight up from that shape, all we're doing is thickening up what we've already laid down in the layout. This is his roller skates. To add a little detail to that, just put some squares, and let's have these inliners. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you need. Let's go back here, do the same thing over here. And right about here. Up, around, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is shaping up pretty good. Now, what's happening is we need some cartoon effects and accessories. Right now, this guy looks like he's falling. But if we add a shadow to where the bottom meets the ground, that's what we'll do, and that'll look like he just made contact. Just like that. Now, of course, we need some more cartoon effects and accessories, and that's a splash. And now we need a sound effect. That's the best kind of cartoon effect there is. And we're going to use thud. Well, that's a good sound. For this cartoon, look at that. Thud. And up here, some perspiration coming out of this fella, this poor fella. And some stars. You always have to have stars in a cartoon when something happens like that. A couple of them over here. Maybe a swirly or two, like he just got hurt. And there it is. Let's add some color to this guy. I think this came out pretty good. Let's see, what can I color this in with? I'll use chalks for this one. Okay, just like this. And by laying the chalk on its side, what happens? You cover more area and you get a nice flowing look instead of using the point. I always say let the art tool work for you. You don't have to work real hard at it. And let's go back and add a little bit of red for his cheeks. A little too thick on his eyes there. Went over the black line. And now I'm going to use one of the best tools an artist has. Finger. Smear it around a little bit. Get a little misty effect to it. And a little bit of yellow for his hair. Let's see. Ooh, I know, a purple sweater. And I'm getting a little lighter onto the right side and a little bit heavier on the left. That way it creates the illusion of a little bit of a shadow or shading effect where it's darker on one side. And we're doing a show on light and shadow, and I think you'll like that. A couple of lines like that, make it look like it bent. And a little bit of red for where it hit. This cartoon has movement. I think we need something for his pants too. They're not filled in. Here, take a look at that sketch, and I'll tell you what I'll do now. I'll play a little piano for you. Action drawings. Let's do another one. Okay, now let's have a fella chopping wood. Well, that's an action drawing. And we're going to draw him chopping wood in a way that you don't see in real life. But that's the beauty of cartoons. You can do things in cartoons that you can't do in real life. Here we go, I'm looking for my pen, there it is. Okay, let's start with, I guess you could say, a hot dog shape. And that's going to be for his body. And the action of this drawing is this way. He's in the air. And this shape will be for his head. And here's his legs. They're bent. And he's flying up in the air and his arms are forward. 1, 2, just like that. And the action line, if you could see it, is like this. Always look for like a line of motion or a line of action. In this case, it would be curved. And the ground's all the way down here. And I'm going to draw a shadow to see where he came from. Now let's go back in and let's add some detail to his face. Now, if a fellow was chopping wood, what kind of facial expression would he have? Well, he'd be determined, he'd be happy maybe, or he might be trying like this, his eyebrows might be down like he was, angry, but his mouth be smiling, so that would make it determined, because he's not angry chopping wood. And you have to think these actions through. Okay, here's his ear, here's his nose, and here's his mouth, and eyebrows down, like he's happy he hit it, and there's his hair. And because there's action in this drawing, we're going to have his hat not on his head, flying off his head. And here's the brim, and some lines around it like it just flew off. And now we have to thicken up his arms. And we'll have his sleeves rolled up. And here's one arm, and it's holding the axe, which we haven't put in yet. And then the other arm, which is just doubling that one a little bit. His thumb. And his fingers coming up, wrapped around. What else? The axe. Now let's do that. Here's the axe. And the other side of the axe we won't draw because that's going to be buried in the tree stump. And we'll do that now. And that's nothing more than a cylinder shape that we make a little bumpy on the side for the bark. And some detail on that. A knot hole. And a tree stump, and you can add as much detail as you want, but we're not going to do that. Right, now we're going to go back to the fella now. Okay, here's his other arm, and here's his clothing. Now we'll stop about there for the waist. Now let's put in his pants. Again, we're just thickening up what we've already started. So once you have the layout of a cartoon, you're home free, aren't you? And the other one, come back, the other foot. Now, the fun part for this cartoon is going to be the cartoon effects and accessories, and that's really what's going to make this come alive. And I'm going to use a piece of, no, you know what? I'm going to use my color tuning pencil and use red. And watch this. Up and around, do another one, up and around, and what that does, that shows the path of what happened. And it looks like he just leapt up, I don't know if it's leapt up, leaped up. And some lines around him to show how determined he is. And let me see what else we can do to this drawing. I know, some green for the grass. That make it come together a little bit. There it is. I like that sketch. And you know what? I got another one. And this one is going to involve sports again. And this time, let's draw a girl, a high school girl, playing basketball. That's a good sketch. And lay it out with a shape. And another shape, a square. And her foot is going this way. Now that's going to give it some action. One, and the other one is going this way. And her foot is out like this. Now, one arm is up here, and that's kind of for balance. Because, you know, your cartoons have to be balanced. And the other is over here and holding or dribbling the basketball. Now, you can't see the hand because it'll be covering the basketball. Okay, there, we're done. I'll put some shadow there where she met the ground. All right, now let's go back in and let's add some detail to this character, and we'll start with her face. Now, her face will be determined too, because in action drawings, everybody will be determined if they're trying to do their best in sports. So let's see. Face will be out this way. Now remember, we think of that as a balloon or an egg, a three-dimensional object, and put those guidelines wrapped around the shape. And she's looking this way. Here's her nose. Here's her mouth. Let's give her a big smile. And you know what? We'll close her eyes like this, like she's happy. And her hair's flying up like that. Here's her ear. Here's her ponytail. Now, you know what? We'll give her ponytail flying up too, because that's going to show movement. Everything adds to the movement of a drawing. And let's see. Okay, so put her outfit in. Put her arm in. Now, as you can see, what we're doing is just thickening up those shapes again. And here's her at the top. Give her a number. She's number 2. And shorts. And her legs going out this way. Getting a little wider towards the top, towards the calf. One foot, the other foot. And some motion lines on that. And the basketball, which she's dribbling, some perspiration. And we're going to do what's called a ghosting effect. Don't get scared. It's okay. This is actually the basketball. You know what? We're even going to put a face on it. Like it's getting dizzy from all the bouncing. Put bounce. Bounce. Boom, boom, boom. And there it is. And let's put some more background into this thing. How about basketball net? And there she is. I'll use some color tuning pencils in this. Add a little bit of color to it. These are your actors, folks. You create these types for your role, for your cartooning assignment, and you need a variety. And you know what? It's a good idea on your daily travels to be on the lookout for all the types you can, because you never know when they can be used in your next cartooning assignment. And if you don't have like a whole little system in your head, a filing system, and be alert of what's going on, you won't be able to have enough characters. You don't want to make everybody looking the same. And we all seem to have the tendency to draw what we already know how to do. The idea is to stretch. When you're practicing, draw what doesn't come easy to you. And that's it for now. Okay. Practice action drawings. Go to a sporting event, watch television, look in magazines, and kind of draw and break it down to its basic forms and look for that line of action. Okay, next up, the feature of the day. All right, make, mow, throw. It's a lot of fun to do, and we'll get started. First, we'll draw the main character. Who else? Mo. So we'll start with an oval, and I'm laying this out in pen here because I want you to see it at home, and I usually might use a pencil at this stage, and then I'd be able to erase it. But right now, I'm going to use this marker. Now what we're doing is we're having a fella, Mo, shooting baskets. He's in a game. There's his hand. And that's enough for that. I'll go back and add some detail. Let's get his legs in there first. Let's get a feel of what's going on first. And there's his nose. And let's have a fella blocking the shot. Right over here. And he'll be looking up, and his arms straight up here, trying to block it. The other one. Oh, I think that's about enough right there. Now, some other players over here. And over here, the most important part, we have to have the basket that he's shooting for. There you go. Okay, now let's go back in, and let's add some more detail to him now that we've got it laid out. Now, I'm going to start with his face. Now, he's real happy. He's smiling because he's making all these shots. And you'll see how many shots he makes in a second. You're going to like this. And here's his eyes. And watch this. When I make a line with a pen like this, if I bear down and then ease up, you get a nice thick and thin line. And that's the sort of thing that really adds character to your drawings. You know, getting that thick and thin line. You know, comic strip artists that work in the newspaper, they use the dip pens and dip it into like a black ink. And those pens are pretty flexible, and you get a real nice thick and thin line to that. And we're going to do a show on comic strips. And that's great fun. Let's give him a number. How about number 4? And comic strips are a lot of fun because that's the next step to making up your characters. That's what you can do with them. You can tell your little story. Everybody's got a little story to tell. I'm constantly getting letters from nice people saying, I got this character, and I have him in this situation, and you know, they're real excited about it. And why not? Because it's a great way to express yourself, comic strips. Okay, his hands are up here, and his thumb's out this side on this hand, and this side would be palms up, and here's his thumb on this side, but you see the palms. 3, 4. Remember, fingers on a circle, and that's the best way to do it. Okay, I'll make this fella bald. And come down. Now you can have as much detail as you want. Oh, I have to put him in the stadium, so just a line behind here does that. And some lines and some dots. And that's what I'll do right now. Now what I'm going to do is bring out a finished drawing of this picture of make, mow, throw. And here it is over here. And you can see it's all in there in detail. And I use a kind of stiff piece of paper. Regular paper doesn't work. Maybe something a little harder, like a board, poster board, might work real well. And you take a compass, and you find a center point, like right at his thumb is where it worked out. And I opened this up, and I made a half circle like that. And I made another one a little bit smaller, just like that. And then, if you need help, get someone to help you and get a knife, like a cutting knife, or you can use a scissors, and cut it out. And I have that prepared here for you, too. Here's that same picture all cut out and colored in. You see this part here? Well, it's all cut out. Now, on another piece of paper, you use your compass to make a big circle. And then a bunch of basketballs. I've got 5, and I've got the center point. And then what you want to do is you want to get a scissors and you want to cut this out. And after you cut it out, I've got that too, it'll look like this. And then you can color it in. Now, I think we're ready to actually make, mow, throw here. So what we're going to do is take this one and this one. Then you'll need a push pin. And you take the push pin and you put it right through that center point on the first piece, just like that. And then you turn it over and you put the basketball circle part right through that. Got to find that hole. There it is. And then I've got a piece of foam board with a hole cut in the back, just like that. And what I'm going to do is push this push pin right through the foam core and then straighten it all out like this. Here it comes. This is the fun part. This is where you make, mow, throw. Put your finger in the back where the opening is, and this guy never misses. Look at the score. The home team's got 4,358, and visitors have 0. How about that? And there it is. So try, mow, throw at home. It's a great project to do. And I'll give you a little music. Next up, cartoon doodle tricks. For our doodle tricks today, I said we would do alphabet tunes. And in keeping with our theme, let's do them with an action mode. So let's start with the letter F. Just like that, a small F. And if we put a head right in here, we can make it a ballerina. And we'll put a bun on the top of her head, and some hair, and some ears, some earrings. And this curved part can be her hand, which is going around. We'll extend this line a little bit, and we'll have the other hand focusing this way, and this will be her body, and we'll put her ballerina costume on, put some cartoon effects and accessories on that. We'll extend this line as well, and have her foot doing that, and her other one coming around like this. All that from the letter F. Put her on stage, and put some people in there, and there it is. All right, let's do another one. Now let's do the letter J. And the letter J will turn into a guy running. This is real quickie, real easy to do. Okay, this here will be his back leg. This one here will be his front leg. Here's his arms. And his other arm will have it on top of his head, holding his hat on. How's that? And here's his head. And he's rushing, so he's upset. Maybe he's running for the bus, something like that. Some cartoon effects and accessories in them. You know what they are by now. There's little extra doodles around the drawing that add punch and movement to your drawing. Put a shadow line on the bottom, because if he's running, he can be in the air like that. Okay, let's do another one. This last one is from the letter Y. And you'll see a guy who's asking, why does he have so much bills? So many bills. So we'll start with the letter Y. And what you want to do is you want to go through the alphabet. That's a good way to practice and see how many things you can come up with, how many sketches you can come up with. Just look at the way the letter is formed and see what you can do with it. Like here I've used for his hands. And right in the center is his head, and he's upset, so his mouth is like that, his teeth, and all this is darkened in. And his head is back, and his eyebrows are up, and he's kind of crying. And he's going, bills, bills, bills. He can't take it anymore. Some dollar signs. And there it is. And that's all the time we have for today, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And for our Blitz tip, I've got a good one for you. I think this says it all. Practice is the mother of success. Got this lady right here pushing her baby, which is success. I'm Bruce Blica saying thanks for being with me, and keep on cartooning.